Okay, hello again. On to 10.4. And in 10.4 we are adding, subtracting, and multiplying these radical expressions. And when we do, we talked about multiplying in the last section, 10.3, where I can just multiply what's under the radical sign provided the index numbers are the same. So we hold on to that idea. And now when we add and subtract these rational expressions, what's important to remember to do is to simplify these radical expressions in the hope and likelihood that we're going to end up with the radicals, the term and the radical sign being the same. And then we're allowed to add or subtract them, just like we do with like terms and unlike terms when we're doing our algebra problems, like 3x minus 2x. There we're allowed to subtract them because they are like terms. Well, that's the same notion here with these radical expressions. For example, let's try this. So I have the cube root of 16x. I want to determine what this simplifies to be. So let's see, we know that it is, I have 4 2's for this 16. This is like 8 times 2, and the cube root of, I don't know, 8 times 2 times x is where I'm going with this. And then I'm going to have the cube root of 8 is 2, so I'll bring that out front. And this 2 stays, and x, of course, I can't do anything with it. Alright, so I got the cube root of 2x left over. And that's what I'm hoping I end up here underneath this radical sign. Alright, so I'm going to subtract. I'll subtract, put my subtractor sign here, but with the third root of 54. So the third root could be, let's say I'm going to break this up into, how about 27 times 2 times x. Just breaking that apart. Now 27 is a cube number, so that's going to go out front, and that number is 3. And then what's left inside is, yay, the 2x. That's what I'm looking for. That's what we're hoping for. So now that this is, remember, my index number as well, so this is my problem now. 2, the cube of 2x, minus 3 times the cube of 2x. Well, that's simply going to be negative 1 cube of 2x, or negative 1 if you're so inclined. Okay? So that's the idea behind that. Number 2 right here, let's see what I can do here with this. I've got, well, this is a fraction with different denominators. I got to get the denominators to be the same before I can do anything, before I can add these. So we're back to, oh, I remember this. I'm going to multiply this 3 by 5, and if I multiply the bottom by 5, I have to multiply the top by 5. Okay, we'll do like this. Okay, so I'm looking at 15 over here, so that means this 5 I got to multiply top and bottom by 3. 3 over 3. Okay, now let's see what I've got. I'll distribute the 5 times the 5 root 2, and that's going to give me 25 root 2 plus on this side it's going to give me 6 root 2 all over 15. You could do it separately. The denominator is 15, so this is what I've got thus far. I don't think I'm done yet, because now I've got to combine this. So I got 25 root 2 plus 6 root 2 is indeed 31 root 2 divided by 15. And then I can see I'm done here because I can't simplify anything at all. If this 31 were a 30, then I'd be in luck, but no, it's ended up being 31. Alright, so that was number 2. Okay, on to number 3 here. So I've got something a little peculiar looking. Square root of 20 over x over 9. So I'm going to do these, I can rewrite it or do it separately. For example, let's see, I've got 20x, so that's going to give me, let's see, it's going to be the square root of 4 times 5 times x. And so that numerator then would be, square root of 4 is 2. The 2 comes out, and what's left on top is 5x. And that's going to be over 9. Okay. And how about this square root of 5x? Now I could divvy that up, or I could just write this up as the square root of 5x. I can't simplify that at all. Over the square root of 9, and we know the square root of 9 is 3. Okay, so here's my problem now. Notice my radical signs are, the radicands are the same. And so I just got to go through the process of making the denominators the same so I can add these together. So that means I'm going to multiply top and bottom here by 3. 3 over 3. And now I'm going to have an answer here of, let's see, this is 3 times 5x, so this is kind of a matter of looking at it this way. I'll just bring it up to the front, and it matches the 2 times the square root of 5x plus 3 times the square root of 5x, which is the 5, which is 5. 2 plus 3 is 5, square root of 5x, divided by 9. We got our denominators to be the same, so it's 9. Okay? That's what we did. That's what we do. How about this one? I got 3 terms. 7 square root of 9 minus 7 plus the square root of 3. That's odd. Well, the 7 times the square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3, so 7 times 3 is 21. Minus 7 plus the square root of 3. So it looks like this is going to be 21 minus 7, which is 14, plus the square root of 3. That's it. Little tricky little thing there. That's just following the rules. That's it. Okay, next problem. Okay, number 5. Looked like a pretty big problem here, so I gave it its own page. Alright, let's go to town here. I want to simplify these guys, so it looks like I'll say this is 3 times the square root of 108. So let's see, I can say this is going to be 108, so that's what, 54? 54 times 2, I'm looking for square root numbers, or square numbers. 54 would be 9 times 6 times 2. So that's looking pretty good, as the square root of 9 is 3. So this is the 3 on the outside, so it'll join this 3 here on the outside. So I've got 3, and then what's left is the square root of 12. But I also know that 6 breaks down to be 3 times 2, so therefore I can get the square root of 2, which is, I'm sorry, the square root of 4, which is 2. So I'll bring that along as the square root of 4, which is 2. Okay, and what's left here is looks like the 3 is left over, right? This 3 times 2. The 2 went with this 2 to give me the square, so I've got a 3 on the inside left over. So this ended up simplifying to be 3 times 3 is 9 times 2 is 18, root 3. Alright, there's my first one. The second one here, that's going to be the square root of 9 times 2, with this 2 on the outside. So the square root of 9 is 3. So the 3 joins the 2 out here, and this 2 is left inside. So this is gone now, and I end up with this being 6 root 2. Root 2. So I got this. Oh, I have different different numbers here, however. Okay, let's see. Then this one is going to be minus 48. That's going to break down. I'm looking for square roots. How about, I could do anything. How about 12 times 4? And I know the 12 again breaks down to be 4 times 3. And I'll remember this one on the outside is part of it. So what have I got here? I end up with 16. 16, the square root of 16 is 4. And what's left over is the 3 to join this other 3. So again, this is going to be, let me visualize this here. It's 16 times 3 is 48. This 3 is on the outside. So the square root of 16 is 4. So I got 4 times 3. And what's left inside is the 3. So that'll leave me with the final of 12 root 3. Okay, so you see I have 2 like terms and 1 unlike term. Is that okay? Certainly. And I'm going to combine the like terms, which is 18 minus 12, because they have the same number under the radical sign. So that's going to give me 6 root 3 minus 6 root 2. Okay, and that's all I can do with number 5. That is it. You know, you could factor out a 6 there, but I don't think you need to do that. All right, onward to number 6. All right, onward and upward. Let's see, what do we got here? Negative 5 times the cube root of 625 plus the cube root of 40. So I got this monster here to deal with. So I'm going to bring this over here. I know your calculator will do it for you. But I know that this is 25. 25 goes into 625 how many times? 25 and 25 times, let's see, I got 6 times 4. That would be 24, and one more is 25. So 25 times, of course, 25 times 25 is 625. Alright, so I'm looking for the cube of 625, so I can break this down to be 5 times 5, as well as this one to be 5 times 5. Okay, so if I want the cube root, then for every 3 I'm going to take one out. Right, here's 1, 2, 3. Take one out in front. I'll bring it over here. So it's going to be negative 5 times 5. And what's left inside, the radical sign is this 5. So I took 3 out, and that left 1 5, which will go inside here. So this invariably becomes negative 25 times the cube root, little 3 here, of 5. And that'll be plus, and now this will be a little bit easier, this one here. So I got the cube root of 40. Let's see, that breaks down to be 8 times 5. Right, cube root. So then the cube of 8 is 2. That comes out front. And again, what's left inside is the 5, which matches this one, which is what I want. There's my index number there. So here's my problem. Negative 25 cube of 5 plus 2 times the cube of 5. Well, that's going to be negative 23 times the cube of 5. Okay, doke. Next. Okay, ready? Let's see, I've got 5y, the square root of 8y. So that means that 8 is 4 times 2, and the square 4 times 2y, and the square root of 4 is 2. So it's going to be 5y times 2. 2 comes out, and the leftover is going to be this 2y. So I've got 10y times the square root of 2y plus, let's do this one. So now this is nice because I've got 50 would be 25 times 2 times y cubed. Alright, the square root of 25 is 5. So that's going to be 2 times 5. And then I'm not done yet. This y cubed, the square root of y cubed is, I can take a y out. I'll take it out here. So one y's out, one y's in. So that means inside it's going to be 2y. This one can kind of guide you. That's probably going to be the same in all likelihood. So then I end up with 2 times 5y is 10y root 2y. And there, I'll add these up. 10y plus 10y is 20y times the root of 2y. Not bad. Not bad at all. Alright, what's next here? How about number 8? I'll squeeze it in over here. Number 8. I think I will. Yes, I will. Because it looks like it's 6. Oh. Cube root of 11 plus 8 square root of 11 minus 12 square root of 11, which gives me, notice I have different indexes for this one and the second term as well as the third one, so I just got to combine my like terms. So this is going to be 6 third root of 11, and this is going to be, I can combine these two. 8 minus 12 is negative 4 root 11. There's my third root of 11. This is a square root of 11. So this is all I can do with that. Done with number 8. That was a little easier actually. Okay, number 9. Well, check this out. The denominators are already the same. That's good. And then I have to simplify my numerators here. So this top here is going to simplify to be, let's see, the cube root of 8 again is 2 on the outside with nothing. So with the, and then x to the 4th, if it's the cube root of x to the 4th, for every 3 take 1 out, so that leaves x on the inside, and 1x will be pulled up from the outside. Oh, I gotta remember my 3 here. I can check that. X to the 3rd times x is x to the 4th. A little way of checking that. Showed you in class. Plus, here's my cube root of x. That's good. And so I end up with 3x. Don't have to do anything with this side. Cube root of x equals Well, it looks like it's 2x plus 3x is 5x cube root of x all over 7. Number 10. Now we change gears a little bit. Now we're going to multiply these guys here. Multiply and simplify as always. So we got two rules here. So I can, in this one, I can't combine these radicals in the parentheses because they're different. But I can multiply them. So I'm going to do the distributive property here. Square root of 7 times the square root of 5 is the square root of 35. And that'll be plus the square root of 7 times the square root of 3 is the square root of 21. Okay, then I look and is this possible to do anything with that, to simplify, to add them, to combine them? And it appears not. So I'm done with this. Okay, let's go to number 11. Number 11. Oh, we've got the squaring of a binomial that we can do. We can do the shortcut way, or I can write two of these out and then FOIL them. I think I'll do both, but first I want to do the FOIL method, which probably is in your better interest. Okay, so let me write two of these, then we'll FOIL them. Okay. Let's see, I got FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. So I got square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is square root of 25, which is 5. And then let's see, I got the square root of 5 times the square root of negative root 2, which is negative root 10. Inside is going to be the same thing. Negative root 2 times root 5 is negative root 10. 10. And then negative root 2 times negative root 2 is going to be positive square root of 4, which is 2. Okay, just, square root of 2 times the square root of 2 equals the square root of 4, and the square root of 4 is 2. I'm just simplifying that a little bit more than we can. All right, I'll combine my middle terms, and this is going to give me, well, let's do, I can do 5 plus 2 now. These are like terms, so I can combine those. That's going to give me 7. And this is negative 1 root 10 minus 1 root 10, which is negative 2 root 10. And now we've got it. All right, a lot of change in the properties or our operations as we're doing this problem. So you really got to be on your toes. Let's see. 1 second. And then, as promised, now I will do the shortcut way. And the shortcut way was to square the first term. So square root of 5 squared is 5. Square the middle term now is going to be 2 times, well, let's do this. The square root of 5 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 10 negative square root of 10, and then 2 times the square root of 10. 2 times the square root of 10 is, so that would be negative 2 square root of 10. And then I'll square this last term. The square root of 2 squared is just 2. And that's going to be positive 2. So there you go. I get the same answer of 7, 7 minus 2 root 10. Alright, so practice that a little bit, and it's really handy for you as you do more foiling type problems. Alright, what is that? Number 11? Alrighty, number 12. Another FOIL problem. And what have I got here? I have got 2 times 3 is 6. Square root of x times the square root of x is x. Outside I got 2 root 6 times 1, which is positive 2 root x. Inside I've got negative 5 times 3 root x, and that's going to give me negative 15 root x. And last is negative 5, this negative 5 times 1, which is negative 5. Negative 5. Alright, combine where we can, which is going to be the middle terms here. So I've got 6x, that's going to be minus 13 root x minus 5. And that's it. Let's try the next one, number 13. And here we go again. Wow. Alright, so we've got FOIL problem again. So we got 2 root 7 times root 7, which is going to give me 2 root 7 times root 7 is 7. 2 times 7. Okay, I'll just leave that for now. Then I'm going to do the outside, which is 2 root 7 times negative 2 root 5, which is going to be negative 4 root 35. That's outside. Inside, 3 root 5 times root 7 is going to be positive 3 root 35. Lastly, I've got 3 root 5 times negative 2 root 5, which is going to be negative 6 times 5. Because root 5 times root 5 is 5. Alright, let's clean this up a little bit. And I've got 14. 2 times 7 is 14. Negative 4 root 35 plus 3 root 35 is negative root 35. And then this will be minus 30. Then I can do 14 minus 30, which is negative 16 minus root 35. And we're done. Good. That was 13. Next. Okay, next here, I think I forgot what number I'm on. I think this is 15. Alright, so let's go. I've got square root of 6 times 3 times the square root of 6. So that's like 3 times 1 is 3. And the square root of 6 times the square root of 6 is 6. So it would be 3 times 6. Okay, outside would be square root of 6 times 1, which is square root of 6. That's outside. Inside here is going to be, let's see, what have I got? I got a mess here. I got negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. And then square root of 2 times the square root of 6 is the square root of 12. Got my eye on that because I can simplify that. Maybe I'll wait a little bit before I do that. and so that's inside, and then the last is 4 square root of 2 times 1, which is, that's negative 4 square root of 2, so it's negative 4 square root of 2. Okay, so here I've got 18 plus the square root of 6 plus the square root of 6 minus, let's see what this is going to be, minus, let's see, 12, that would be 4 times 3, square root of 4 is 2, right, so it would be 2 times negative 12, which is negative 24, and what was left under the radical sign was that 3. Okay, and then minus 4 root 2. So I've got different numbers under the radical sign. So that cuts it short, and this will be my answer. I cannot do any further combining or simplifying. Alright, I'll go along with that. Next number is 16. 16. And it looks like the last one. So while you're here, I've got the square root of 3 plus x, and that's going to be squared. It's written up squared, but we know we can write that up as 2 of them. Square root of 3 plus x. And then we can FOIL that. Square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is 3. Square root of 3 times x is positive x square root of 3. Notice how I'm writing that. I want to put it out in front. I don't want to put it next to this 3, because sometimes this radical sign, you know, it's not perfectly, and then we'll forget that the x is not part of the radical sign, so it's clearly established if I put it right in front, separate. So that's outside. The inside is the same thing, so I got plus x square root of 3, and then last is going to be x times x, which is plus x squared. So I get a final answer of x squared, I'll bring that out front, plus 2x root 3, and then plus 3. Okay. Alright, that's it for this section. I hope that was helpful, and I will talk to you again.